In the vast expanse of the cosmos, a fearsome being roamed the stars, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. Kilg, the Crushinator, the largest and most ruthless of the kaiju Soren species, was a name whispered with dread throughout the universe. Standing at an astonishing 800 meters tall and stretching 122 meters in length, Kilg was a colossal embodiment of raw power and insatiable hunger. The kaiju Soren were a race of towering reptilian creatures renowned for their sheer size, physical might, and a proclivity for destruction. Revered by other species for their majestic appearance and feared for their voracious appetite, the kaiju Soren were the undisputed alpha predators of the universe. Among them, Kilg reigned supreme, his very presence instilling terror in the hearts of all who crossed his path. With his thick, black scales and crimson ridges protruding from his spine, Kilg was the epitome of a living, breathing nightmare. His glowing green eyes and curved bone spike at the end of his tail were the last sights many unlucky civilizations ever witnessed before being consumed by the Crushinator. Kilg and his crew, which included his second-in-command, the cunning and resourceful HFY, as well as the brooding and introspective Tragdor, had spent centuries ravaging planet after planet, laying waste to countless worlds and devouring their inhabitants. They were a force of nature, a scourge that the universe had come to fear and begrudgingly accept as an inevitable part of the cosmic cycle. As Kilg's massive ship, the Doomer, approached the tiny blue planet known as Earth, the Crushinator felt a familiar stirring of anticipation. This insignificant world, with its puny inhabitants, would soon be added to the long list of conquered domains. "Prepare for landing," Kilg growled, his voice rumbling like distant thunder. "It's time to feast." However, as the kaiju Soren descended upon the planet, they encountered a surprising discovery. HFY, in her constant monitoring of the humans' transmissions, had stumbled upon a series of historical reenactments that depicted a kaiju Soren unlike any they had encountered before. "This can't be right," Gigi murmured, her crimson eyes narrowing as she studied the footage. "It appears to show one of our own, Godilla the Newater, fighting alongside the humans against another of our kind." Kilg's massive head snapped around, his reptilian features twisted in a scowl. "Godilla? Impossible. She would never betray her own kind. These humans must be lying." But as Gigi played the recordings, it became increasingly clear that the humans were not fabricating the events. There, before their very eyes, was Godilla, a kaiju Soren of considerable size and strength, engaging in combat against another of their species and seemingly protecting the human settlements. "This is outrageous." Tragdor, the Flaminator, roared, his tail lashing back and forth in agitation. "How dare one of us turn against our own kind and aid these insignificant creatures?" Kilg's claws curled into fists, the sheer size of his hands capable of crushing entire cities. "Find Godilla," he commanded, his voice laced with a dangerous edge. "I will personally see to it that she pays for her treachery." As the kaiju Soren prepared to descend upon the planet, they could not shake the unsettling feeling that their conquest of this world would be far from the easy victory they had anticipated. The humans, it seemed, had somehow managed to forge an alliance with one of their own, and Kilg was determined to uncover the truth behind this unexpected development. With a mighty roar that shook the very foundations of the Doomer, Kilg led his crew towards the surface of the planet, their massive forms casting towering shadows over the unsuspecting human populace below. The Crushinator's hunger for destruction was matched only by his burning desire to confront the traitor in their midst and restore the natural order of the universe. As they approached their destination, Kilg could not shake the growing sense of unease that gnawed at the back of his mind. The humans, for all their apparent insignificance, had managed to pique the interest of the most fearsome kaiju Soren of them all. And in the end, it would be this very curiosity that would seal their fate. The unyielding humans. The Doomer, Kilg's massive flagship, descended upon the desert landscape of planet Earth, its immense size and weight causing the ground to tremble beneath its approach. As the Kaiju Soren trio, Kilg, Jijuvor, and Tragdor, emerged from the ship's airlock, they were greeted by the sight of a vast human military force, their tiny forms dwarfed by the towering presence of the Crushinator and his crew. Kilg surveyed the scene with a mix of amusement and disdain. "Look at them, scurrying about like insignificant insects," he growled, his deep voice rumbling like distant thunder. "They have no idea what they're up against." Jijuvor, ever the pragmatist, placed a clawed hand on Kilg's arm. "We should proceed with caution, my lord. These humans may be small, but they seem to possess some advanced technology. I would not underestimate them." Tragdor, his crimson scales gleaming in the desert sun, snorted derisively. "Bah! What could these puny creatures possibly do to us? We are the Kaiju Soren, the mightiest beings in the universe. Let us crush them and be done with it." Kilg raised a massive clawed hand, silencing his subordinate. "Patience, Tragdor. First, we must find Godilla. If she has indeed betrayed us, then she will pay the ultimate price. And then," a predatory grin spread across the Crushinator's face, "then we will show these humans the true power of the Kaiju Soren." With a thunderous step, Kilg advanced towards the human military, his two companions flanking him. The ground trembled with each stride, and the humans, their weapons raised in a desperate attempt to defend their home, opened fire. Missiles streaked through the air, slamming into the Kaiju Soren's thick, armored scales. Kilg barely flinched, his massive form unfazed by the barrage. Jijuvor, her reflexes honed by centuries of combat, deftly dodged the projectiles, while Tragdor simply swatted them away with a casual swing of his massive tail. "Is that the best you can do, insects?" Tragdor bellowed, his voice echoing across the desert. "Your puny weapons are no match for us." The humans, undeterred, continued their assault, unleashing a relentless hail of firepower upon the invading Kaiju Soren. To their astonishment, the massive creatures seemed impervious to their attacks, their scales shrugging off the missiles and bullets as if they were mere pebbles. Kilg, his patience wearing thin, raised a clawed hand and let out a deafening roar. "Enough of this foolishness. Bring me Godilla, and I will spare your pitiful existence. Resist, and I will crush you all." The human commanders, their faces etched with a mixture of fear and determination, refused to back down. They had witnessed the devastation wrought by the Kaiju Soren on other worlds, and they were not about to let their home become the next victim of these monstrous invaders. Rallying their forces, the humans unleashed a new barrage of weapons, this time targeting the Kaiju Soren's heads and eyes. Kilg, caught off guard by the unexpected ferocity of the attack, staggered back, his massive frame disoriented by the onslaught. Jijuvor and Tragdor, too, found themselves struggling to maintain their footing as the humans' onslaught continued unabated. Realizing that their physical prowess was not enough to overwhelm the humans' technological might, the Kaiju Soren quickly donned the protective aluminum foil hats that Jiji had prepared, shielding their minds from any potential psychic manipulation. Kilg, his vision clearing, roared in frustration. "Curse these wretched humans and their trickery. Where is Godilla? I will tear her apart with my own claws." The Crushinator's booming voice echoed across the desert, but there was no response from the missing Kaiju Soren. The humans, emboldened by their unexpected success, continued their relentless assault, raining down a storm of missiles and energy weapons upon the invading Kaiju Soren. Jijuvor, her crimson eyes narrowed in concentration, activated a powerful electromagnetic pulse that temporarily disabled the humans' aerial drones, sending them crashing to the ground. But as soon as the pulse dissipated, the human forces regrouped, their resolve unwavering. Tragdor, his patience exhausted, charged towards the human lines, his massive form shattering the ground with each thunderous step. I'll show you the true power of the Kaiju Soren." He roared, his tail lashing out with devastating force. But even as the Flaminator rampaged, the humans refused to back down. They continued to pour on the firepower, their weapons finding chinks in the Kaiju Soren's defenses, slowly whittling away at their formidable strength. Kilg, his pride wounded by the humans' unexpected resilience, realized that their conquest of this planet would not be the effortless victory he had anticipated. With a growl of frustration, he turned to his companions. "We retreat for now, but mark my words, humans, you have only delayed the inevitable. The Kaiju Soren will return, and when we do, no force in this universe will be able to stop us." As the Doomer's ramp hissed closed, Kilg cast one last, lingering glance at the human forces, his green eyes burning with a mixture of resentment and a newfound respect. These insignificant creatures had somehow managed to stand their ground against the might of the Kaiju Soren, and in doing so, they had shattered the Crushinator's unshakable confidence. The journey back to the Doomer was a silent one, each Kaiju Soren lost in their own thoughts, their unease palpable. The humans, it seemed, were not the easily conquered prey they had once dismissed, and the prospect of facing them again filled the Kaiju Soren with a sense of trepidation they had never before experienced. The deadly secret of Earth. As the Doomer ascended from the surface of planet Earth, the three Kaiju Soren, Kilg the Crushinator, Vor, and Tragdor, were engulfed in a tense silence. Their initial encounter with the humans had shaken their confidence, leaving them with more questions than answers. Kilg, the mighty Crushinator, paced the confines of the ship's control room, his massive claws flexing with barely contained frustration. "Those pathetic humans," he growled, "how dare they defy us? We are the Kaiju Soren, the scourge of the universe." Vor, her crimson eyes gleaming with analytical focus, placed a calming claw on Kilg's arm. "My lord, we cannot dismiss the humans so easily. Their technology and resolve have proven to be more formidable than we anticipated. We must reevaluate our approach." Tragdor, the brooding Flaminator, let out a rumbling sigh. "I still cannot fathom how Godilla, one of our own, could betray us and align herself with these insignificant creatures. When we find her, I will personally rip her to shreds." Kilg nodded, his reptilian features twisting into a menacing scowl. "Yes, Godilla's treachery must be dealt with. But first, we must understand how the humans were able to withstand our onslaught." He turned to Vor, his gaze expectant. "What have you learned?" Vor cleared her throat, her clawed fingers tapping against the ship's controls. "Our initial scans of the planet's atmosphere revealed something rather unexpected. The oxygen content is significantly lower than what is typically found on life-bearing worlds." Kilg's brow ridge furrowed in confusion. "Lower oxygen? How is that possible? All sapient species require a certain level of oxygen to survive. Surely these humans cannot thrive in such an environment." Vor nodded, her expression grave. "That's precisely the point, my lord. The humans not only survive in this atmosphere, but they seem to have adapted to it. Our own species, the Kaiju Soren, on the other hand." She paused, her gaze flickering to Tragdor. Tragdor's eyes widened with dawning realization. "You mean to say that the thin air of this planet is dangerous to us?" Vor inclined her head. "Yes, Tragdor. Our physiology, our very dependence on higher oxygen levels, makes us vulnerable to the environment of this world. The longer we remain here, the more our strength and stamina will be sapped." Kilg's massive frame tensed, his claws digging into the ship's console. "Impossible," he growled. "We are the Kaiju Soren, the mightiest beings in the universe. How can a mere planet's atmosphere pose a threat to us?" Vor held up a clawed hand, her expression solemn. "I'm afraid it is true, my lord. Our scans have detected the early signs of oxygen deprivation in both Tragdor and myself. If we linger here too long, we may succumb to the planet's deadly atmosphere." Tragdor let out a guttural roar, his tail lashing back and forth in agitation. Then we must find a way to counteract this threat. We cannot allow these humans to have the upper hand. I will not be defeated by mere air. Kilg's eyes narrowed, his massive mind racing as he considered their options. Gigi, have you found any means of shielding ourselves from the thin atmosphere? Gigi Vor nodded, her crimson gaze meeting Kilg's. Yes, my lord. I synthesized a protective layer of aluminum foil that should provide a temporary barrier against the planet's low oxygen levels. However, the material is delicate and will need to be reapplied regularly. Kilg let out a rumbling sigh, his massive shoulders sagging slightly. Then we have no choice but to return to the surface and confront the humans once more. We must find Godilla and uncover the truth behind her betrayal. And if these insignificant creatures dare to stand in our way. His claws clenched into fists, the very air vibrating with his fury. I will crush them all. With a renewed sense of determination, the kaiju Soren prepared to descend upon the planet, their protective foil hats firmly in place. As the Doomer's ramp hissed open, Kilg and his companion stepped out, their massive forms once again casting long shadows over the human military forces. But as they advanced, a strange sensation washed over the kaiju Soren. Kilg felt his movements slowing, his breath coming in labored gasps. Gigi Vor and Tragdor, too, were struggling, their mighty frames betraying the first signs of fatigue. Kilg's eyes widened in dawning horror as he realized the true nature of the human's advantage. The air, he rasped, his voice barely above a whisper. It's poisoning us. The humans, their faces set with grim determination, unleashed a barrage of weapons, targeting the weakened kaiju Soren with renewed vigor. Tragdor, his massive body succumbing to the thin atmosphere, collapsed to the ground, his crimson scales dulling as his life force ebbed away. Gigi Vor, her claws frantically reapplying the protective foil, fought to maintain her footing, but even her agility and cunning were no match for the relentless onslaught of the human forces. Kilg, the mighty Crushinator, stood his ground, his pride and its sheer force of will the only things keeping him upright. But as he surveyed the scene, he could not ignore the growing sense of dread that threatened to consume him. The humans, these insignificant creatures, had somehow found a way to turn the planet's very atmosphere against the kaiju Soren. And as Kilg's vision began to blur and his limbs grew heavy, he realized with crushing certainty that they had, for the first time in their long history, met their match. The Crushinator, the scourge of the cosmos, had been brought low by the very world he had dismissed as worthless, and as he sank to the ground, his massive frame shuddering with each labored breath, Kilg knew that the humans had unlocked a secret far more deadly than any weapon they could have wielded. The universe, it seemed, had finally found a way to stop the unstoppable kaiju Soren, and it had come in the form of the thin, unassuming air of a tiny blue planet. The triumph of the weak. As the mighty kaiju Soren, led by the Crushinator Kilg, struggled against the deadly atmosphere of planet Earth, the human forces watched with a growing sense of grim determination. They had witnessed firsthand the devastation that these colossal creatures were capable of, and they knew that their very survival depended on finding a way to neutralize this formidable threat. The human commanders, their faces set with unwavering resolve, gathered their top scientists and military strategists, determined to uncover the secret to the kaiju Soren's vulnerability. They pored over the data gathered during the initial confrontation, meticulously analyzing every detail, from the kaiju Soren's physical characteristics to the peculiarities of their behavior. It was during this intensive investigation that they stumbled upon a crucial discovery: the kaiju Soren's reliance on higher oxygen levels. The fact that these massive creatures were struggling to adapt to Earth's atmospheric conditions was a revelation that sent shockwaves through the human military. If we can't defeat them with our weapons, one of the commanders declared, then we'll have to defeat them with the very environment they can't survive in. Thus, a new plan was hatched, one that would pit the kaiju Soren's physical might against the deadly secrets of the planet they sought to conquer. As the Crushinator Kilg and his companions HFY War and Tragdor continued their desperate struggle against the thin air, the human forces began to mobilize. Advanced equipment was hastily constructed, specialized weapons designed to exploit the kaiju Soren's vulnerability to the low oxygen atmosphere. The moment of reckoning came when the kaiju Soren, their protective foil hats in place, once again descended upon the human military base. This time, however, the humans were ready. Kilg, his massive frame wavering, let out a thunderous roar. "Humans, where is Gubdilla? Bring her to me, and I will spare your pitiful lives." But the humans remained steadfast, their weapons poised and ready. "Godilla is beyond your reach, Crushinator," one of the commanders shouted through a loudspeaker. "Your reign of destruction ends here." With a deafening rumble, the ground beneath the kaiju Soren's feet began to shake, and a series of massive machines emerged, their purpose unclear to the towering invaders. Kilg, his eyes narrowing in suspicion, raised a clawed hand, ready to unleash a devastating attack. But before he could act, the machines sprung to life, emitting a powerful electromagnetic pulse that shattered the kaiju Soren's protective foil hats. HFY War and Tragdor, their minds now vulnerable to the humans' advanced technology, succumbed to the effects of the pulse, collapsing to the ground in a daze. Kilg, his massive frame trembling, watched in horror as his companions were incapacitated. "What trickery is this?" he roared, his voice laced with a growing sense of panic. The human commander, his voice amplified by the loudspeakers, replied with a chilling calm. "This is no trickery, Crushinator. This is the price you and your kind pay for underestimating us." Suddenly, a deafening hiss filled the air, and the ground around the kaiju Soren began to emit a thick, billowing cloud of gas. Kilg, his senses reeling, recognized the familiar scent of oxygen, but it was accompanied by a foreign, pungent odor that set his scales crawling. Oxygen, and something else, the Crushinator rasped, his massive chest heaving with each labored breath. The human commander's voice echoed across the desert, a hint of triumph in his tone. "That's right, Crushinator. Oxygen, combined with a highly concentrated compound that is toxic to your kind. Your massive size and dense physiology make you particularly vulnerable to this deadly mixture." Kilg, his body betraying the first signs of distress, let out a roar of defiance. "You cannot do this. We are the kaiju Soren, the mightiest beings in the universe. We will not be defeated by your trickery." But as the Crushinator struggled to maintain his footing, the human forces unleashed a barrage of specialized weapons, firing projectiles that burst open in midair, raining down the toxic oxygen mixture upon the kaiju Soren. Kilg, his massive frame convulsing, watched in horror as HFY War and Tragdor succumbed to the deadly compound, their scales and ridges beginning to crumble. He knew, in that moment, that his own fate was sealed. As the Crushinator sank to his knees, his vision blurring and his limbs growing heavy, he could not help but marvel at the sheer ingenuity of the humans. These insignificant creatures, whom he had so readily dismissed, had found a way to turn the very elements of their world against the mighty kaiju Soren. Kilg, the scourge of the cosmos, the largest and most fearsome of his kind, had been brought low by the tenacity and adaptability of the humans, and as the life drained from his massive frame, the Crushinator could not help but feel a grudging sense of respect for these resilient, resourceful beings. The humans, in their moment of triumph, watched as the kaiju Soren invaders succumbed to the deadly atmosphere they had created. The once mighty Kilg, HFY War, and Tragdor lay motionless on the desert sands, their towering forms a testament to the power of the humans' ingenuity. As the sun set over the battlefield, the human commanders knew that they had not only defended their home, but had also secured a victory that would echo through the cosmos. The kaiju Soren, a scourge that had terrorized the universe for centuries, had finally met their match in the seemingly insignificant inhabitants of a tiny blue planet. The legacy of the Crushinator and his kind would forever be tainted by the knowledge that they had been undone, not by superior weapons or technology, but by the very environment they had so arrogantly dismissed. The humans, in their triumph, had proven that the true power of a species lies not in its size or strength, but in its ability to adapt, innovate, and overcome even the most daunting of challenges. Legacy of the Crushinator. In the vast expanse of the cosmos, the news of the Kaiju Soren's defeat on the planet known as Earth spread like wildfire. What had once been regarded as an unstoppable force of nature, capable of laying waste to entire civilizations, had been brought low by the ingenuity and resilience of a species considered little more than insignificant morsels. The universe, once gripped by the fear of the Kaiju Soren and their unquenchable hunger for destruction, found itself in a state of stunned disbelief. How could the mighty Crushinator, the largest and most fearsome of his kind, have been vanquished by the puny inhabitants of a tiny backwater world? As the detailed accounts of the Kaiju Soren's downfall began to circulate, other species across the galaxy found themselves grappling with a newfound respect, and in some cases, a reluctant admiration for the humans of Earth. The Retrolls, a technologically advanced race known for their mind control abilities, hastily re-evaluated their plans to subjugate the humans, realizing that their psychic powers would be no match for the deadly atmosphere the humans had weaponized. The Stiga, a species renowned for their formidable physical prowess, took note of the humans' ability to overcome the Kaiju Soren's raw strength through strategic thinking and innovative use of their environment. They, too, reconsidered any potential invasions, wary of underestimating the true might of these insignificant creatures. Even the Kijuan Soren, the once unassailable apex predators of the universe, found themselves shaken to the core by the fate of their brethren. The news of Kilg the Crushinator's demise sent shockwaves through their species, shattering the unshakable confidence that had long defined them. If the mighty Kilg, the largest of the large, could be felled by those puny humans, whispered one Kaiju Soren to another, then what hope do we have of ever conquering their world? The revelation that the humans had found a way to turn the very atmosphere of their planet into a deadly weapon against the Kaiju Soren sent a chill through the hearts of even the most fearsome of the species. The once arrogant belief that no force in the universe could stop them had been irrevocably shattered. As the historical recordings of the Kaiju Soren's final moments on Earth were played and analyzed across the cosmos, a new narrative began to emerge. The Crushinator, once seen as the embodiment of unstoppable power, was now viewed through a lens of cautionary tales, a stark reminder that even the mightiest of beings could be brought low by the ingenuity and resilience of the weak. In the wake of Kilg's demise, the Kaiju Soren found themselves facing a crisis of identity. Their reputation as the scourge of the cosmos, the unquestioned masters of the universe, had been irreparably tarnished. Many within their ranks began to question the very foundations of their existence, wondering if there was more to life than the endless cycle of destruction and consumption that had defined them. Some Kaiju Soren, like the brooding Tragdor, were haunted by the realization that their species had taken so much from the universe, destroying wonders and cultures without a second thought. The Flaminator's final moments, spent gasping for breath on the alien soil of Earth, had shaken him to the core, leaving him racked with guilt and a newfound sense of purpose. Giju Vor, the cunning second-in-command, found herself grappling with a complex mix of emotions. While she still harbored a deep respect and loyalty for her species, the experience on Earth had opened her eyes to the incredible resilience and adaptability of the human race. She could not help but wonder if there was more to the universe than the endless cycle of conquest and domination that had defined the Kaiju Soren for millennia. As for Godilla, the Kaiju Soren who had chosen to align herself with the humans, her fate remained a mystery. Some speculated that she had perished alongside her brethren, while others held on to the hope that she had somehow managed to survive, her actions a testament to the possibility of change and redemption, even within the most fearsome of species. The legacy of Kilg the Crushinator, the largest and most fearsome of the kaiju Soren, had been forever altered. No longer was he seen as the unstoppable scourge of the cosmos, but rather a cautionary tale of the dangers of underestimating the weak and the power of adaptability. In the years that followed, the humans of Earth, once dismissed as insignificant, found themselves the subject of intense study and fascination across the galaxy. Their ability to overcome the kaiju Soren's physical dominance through technological innovation and environmental exploitation became the stuff of legends, inspiring other species to reconsider their own biases and limitations. The universe, once ruled by the iron grip of the kaiju Soren, had been forever changed. And at the heart of this transformation lay the tiny blue planet known as Earth, a testament to the enduring power of the weak and the triumph of the human spirit.